Hey, welcome back, listeners, to Off Over 50 and Fired Now What with Linda
and Shelley.
So we're continuing our series on consulting by focusing on independent consulting and what steps you should take to be successful.
Before we have our guest talk about anything, let's talk about the wine first. In this episode, our wine recommendation is Chiuso, and I'm going to spell it. It's Chiuso, which is a super Tuscan wine from Italy.
And actually, we tried it last night over dinner, and it was fabulous. And I liked it because it was a combination of my two favorite grapes, Sangiovese and Pinot Noir.
Yeah, you just had to let it breathe for a little while.
That's right. But Cheers. It was delicious.
Cheers. So we're excited to have Suzy back for a quad-peat, let me repeat that again, a quad-peat appearance for our One-O.F.F segment on independent consulting.
So welcome back, Suzy. We're so glad to have you back. So usually Shelley and I come up with some overarching principles or steps to finish out our series. But this time, we're going to take the lazy way out. We're going to ask you, our guest, to come up with those steps. So thanks for doing all the heavy lifting, Suzy.
You're so welcome. I'm very happy to be here and share these 8 steps. And I'm so happy to be a quad-peat guest. Thank you for that incredible honor.
That's
I really
right.
appreciate it.
The one and only.
And hopefully it'll stay that way. It's very important to me.
So, Suzy, what are those 8 steps for getting started and being successful as an independent consultant?
So, yes, as you mentioned, there are 8 steps to independent consulting, and it really just starts at the beginning with identifying your unique selling proposition. What can you offer that's differentiating and that leverages your expertise and capabilities? Do you want to narrowly focus your offerings? Do you want to do a number of different things? You need to take that time up front and really think about what's going to set you apart from all the other people who are out there offering their services and describing it in a way that's compelling and very specific to what you have to offer. So once you've done that, step 2 is to network and connect. And that networking and connecting should be with people you know, people who share an interest, or people who can help you. And it's really important that you not be shy about networking and connecting, because the way you have to think about this is you have something to offer, and there are people out there who could really benefit from your services. And I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I really wanted to declutter my house. And I know that's something I've worked on for a long time, but a few years ago, I really felt like I needed to make some progress on that. And I was at a party, and a friend of mine mentioned that she had just started working as an organizing professional. She was working with individuals to help them declutter their houses. She was working with families to clear out homes after someone had died. She was really spending some time on this, and she was getting some traction, and she mentioned it at this social occasion. And I was so glad she mentioned it because I needed that. And so she and I talked about it, and she ended up helping me quite a bit with my project. If she had been shy about taking that opportunity, if she had taken the approach that I'm at a party, I'm with my friends, I don't want to sell myself, this isn't business, this is a personal or social occasion, we would have missed out on that connection, and I would have missed out on getting that help from her. So I always think about that example when I think about putting out into the world what I have to offer.
Can I just ask you a question? Has it gotten easier over time, though?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Because it's important, and I'm glad you brought that up, because you need to cast a wide net. You need to do that networking and connecting with as many people as you can, because the more you do it, the easier it gets. And the more resilient you are. If someone doesn't respond or they don't have a project, that's okay. You've got all these other avenues to explore. Mm-hmm. So it does get easier over time. And it's something that you just have to really keep thinking of it as a way you're helping people because they have a problem or something that you can do for them.
So that's what you can think of, Shelley, because I think for Shelley, this is very difficult because you're a little bit of a Shelley shut-in.
That's me.
But if, as Suzy said, if there is a need or you see a place where maybe your skill sets would fit in and help out, why not bring it up? I mean, I think maybe you might feel more comfortable if you're in that situation. Right, Shelley?
Absolutely. And I think, then you kind of perfect your spiel, right? Or your elevator speech around the uniqueness that you could bring to the table.
Yeah. And customize it. Customize that message. Absolutely.
So what's the next step?
So after you've developed that unique selling proposition, you've told people about it, and you've found an opportunity to actually do a project, you then need to write a proposal with specifics about the deliverables, the cost, the timing, and the process. I would recommend using a template to make it easier to do these quickly and consistently moving forward. The first one will take time, and that's okay. Take as much time as you need. They get easier as you go. And it's probably the most important part of the process, because this is where people are actually going to agree to pay you to do something for them. So in the proposal, tell them what you plan to do, but don't give away your conclusions or your work for free. Resist the temptation to give them your wonderful ideas before you're engaged to actually do the work.
So it's just like an outline of things.
Of what you're going to do for them.
But I think step number 3 is important, because if you don't outline what you're going to do, you don't have anything to refer back to later to make sure that you both have the same understanding of what the actual deliverables are and what you've agreed to do. So it's very important.
And I think it's a good way to help manage expectations on both sides too then.
Definitely. Because the proposal is a starting point for negotiation. And if, to your point, if they have different expectations, you can align those before you get started and make sure that it meets everybody's needs. Once you've done that, follow up at least twice. There are many reasons why you might send a proposal, and this goes for networking too. You might reach out to someone and not hear back. There are a million reasons why that can happen that have absolutely nothing to do with you or their desire to work with you. So follow up at least twice. And this is another reason why it's important to reach out to a lot of people up front. It keeps up the momentum. Not every prospect is going to work out. So knowing that there are other things that you can be working on helps you keep momentum, not get discouraged if one or two things don't go your way, or if it takes a little while to get going.
So after step number 4, follow up, what's next, Suzy?
You want to create a legal agreement. After your proposal has been signed off on, you don't start yet. You need to create a legal agreement. And it could be a fairly lengthy contract. It could be a one-pager. You need to decide what's comfortable for you and for your client. But you really want to make sure that you have that done, partly, even if it's people that you know and you think, oh, it's going to be great, you trust them, that's going to look like, I don't think they're going to pay me. It's about showing that you take your work seriously, that you're a professional, that you're advocating for yourself, that you have legal representation on your side, and that you've thought through things like confidentiality. Sometimes there are tax reasons why you need to work in a certain location or not. You want to be clear about that. It's a very important step to make sure that everything goes smoothly all the way along.
And you also want to protect yourself.
Of course. Yeah, you want to have this, the process in place if it comes to that.
So, Suzy, I know that you can find a lot of these templates for legal agreements online these days. Do you think it's still important to have someone to check it, or an attorney or something like that do that in
Definitely. Because a template can have things in it that might not be appropriate for you. And boilerplate language can be great, or it might have something in it that was left over from some other situation. So it's not a lot of money to have a lawyer look at something like this, and it's definitely worth it. So once you've done that, now it's time to actually do the project. And the key thing here is to make sure that you keep looking back at your proposal. You should make sure to check in regularly with your client. Weekly is good. And always have that proposal with you, so that if there's any question about the deliverables, or if you need to remind them where you are in the project, you're going back to the thing that they agreed to do, or that you both agreed to do, as your roadmap for the project.
So I know you said you'll do weekly check-ins. Do you actually create maybe like a weekly status update that just lists some of the things that you're doing on what phase you are in along that journey? Or
Yep. I created a for me, it was just a simple document that is a running list of what's happened so far, where we are in the project, and what decisions need to be made at that point. Sort of what do I need from them, and then what are the next steps. So it's kind of what's happened, where are we right now, what do I need from you, and here's what I'm going to do with that.
All right, so that was step number 6, actually doing the project. And so are we almost done?
Almost done. 2 more steps. Step number 7 is just to close it out and really make sure that everything you agreed to do gets done. So sometimes some time could have passed between when you did the proposal and when you finish it. So you just want to make sure nothing is left undone. And finally, when it's all completed, ask for feedback. If there were any lessons learned, make a note of those, either for future work with that client or with anybody else. If it went well, ask for a testimonial that you could use on your website, on your LinkedIn profile, or would they be willing to let you do a case study to include on your website? See if you can use a successful experience to build momentum for yourself moving forward.
Right. Or I like the idea of, as that being your last principle. Number 8 is, and if it wasn't a great experience, learn from it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
That's really helpful.
Yep.
Yeah, you always want to continue that improvement process, right? You can use what you've learned into your next engagement, your next consulting gig.
Yeah, and I think it shows the client that you're open, that you are there to be helpful and, to partner, and that you care about their experience.
And it also opens up that discussion of potentially another opportunity, right?
Absolutely. Yep. No question. So in summary, the 8 steps for independent consulting are: number 1, identify your unique selling proposition. Number 2, network and connect. 3, write a proposal. 4, follow up at least twice. 5, create a legal agreement. 6, do the project in line with the proposal and check in regularly. 7, close it out. And finally, 8, ask for feedback, testimonials, and case studies, and make sure to request permission from the client to share any materials.
So thanks so much, Suzy. We really appreciate the time and the fact that you did our work for us. It's great.
Anytime.
And again, congratulations on the quad Pete. And we
thank
hope
you.
to have you back again on season 3.
Anytime. Thank you so much. And thanks again for all you're doing for everybody out there who's going down this journey with you.
So you can find the 8 steps for independent consultant by Suzy in our off toolkit.
You can also find this week's wine recommendation on our website, www.over50andfired.com.
Please give us your feedback and stories by going to our website and clicking on Contact Us, or you can just email us at offnowwhat@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.